Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Maz.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
And it is May, the lusty month
May
of
something.
May, for fans of Camelot the musical, of which I'm sure you are one.
Totally. Got that reference immediately.
Absolutely. Your hair is looking very butch today.
Thank you.
Is
I
it a new
teased
cut
it a little bit
or
more.
just a new style?
I think I'm trying different products in my hair right now. And this one's a little bit more like sets the curls faster when I blow dry it. So it's kind of, it's doing a weird thing today, but I kind of dig it. Plus I'm trying to do like little bangs.
Yeah.
So I'm trying.
Which it kind of looks like a Jerry curl. Maybe that's what I'm
Yeah, a little bit,
thinking.
yeah.
Little Jerry curl. So you didn't just run out and get a butch haircut for Queers and Quills?
No, well, I got like a soft mullet right before I went to that event in New York. So it's kind of butchy, but with like a little party in the back situation.
Soft mullet.
A soft.
How are your Queers and Quills plans coming along?
Good. I still haven't gotten anything new swag wise. So I'm probably not going to do anything.
Like I have that ship is sailed.
I was gonna try to like whip up a button or something, but I can't think of anything. So I was like, all right, this is just the universe being like, you don't need more shit. So I'm gonna bring my cute little bookmarks. I've got some cool stickers, and then I think that's kind of it. Like, I don't know. I ordered so much inventory that I don't really want to spend any more money because I ordered my base inventory and then figured out that I was going to be able to get those illustrated covers done. So I ordered those two. And so I'm like, I'm going to be sending so much shit back unless it explodes and I sell all of them, but I'm not expecting that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's for a first con. So, I'm like, I don't want to break the bank. We'll maybe do it up bigger for next year.
Yeah. Whatever next year holds, we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm optimistic that they'll do another year in like the same time frame because it's like the weekend of my birthday, so I love it.
Oh yeah, they I think have already talked about 2027. I don't think they're going to try to do one next year.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like an every other year thing, which would actually be pretty smart.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, give people a chance to save up.
Run a conference every single year. Yeah, exactly. And it leaves room for other conferences to kind of fill the void if people really want to go to a con every year. So
yeah, makes sense.
Or maybe once they have this totally nailed down, then they'll start doing every year. Who knows?
Yeah.
So how else?
Makes sense.
What else is going on in life?
Oh, we're going to do a spontaneous trip to Texas this weekend because we can, since we're close enough. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Are you just going to drive down there?
Yeah. We're just going to drive down there. We're using it as an excuse to like go see my mom for Mother's Day as like a kind of a surprise thing. So I called her and was like, hey, by the way, we're going to swing into town on Friday. And she freaked out, which is what I wanted. So it was just kind of cool. So now we're starting I could pop down to Texas whenever I want kind of thing. And Jess actually floated. Apparently Trixie's going to be in Arlington over like June 14th or something. So I might drive down to do that too.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Amazing. Is it going to be there like, is it like a show or a disco?
She's doing a free Pride event.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know who kicked it off, but I guess yearly now, like at the Arlington Convention Center or like downtown Arlington, they do a big Pride event and they snag like top talent. Like I think Katya was there last year or something. So Trixie's going to be there this year. So, and it's free. You just go.
That'd be amazing. You should do that. If you don't do that, I'll be mad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to get in my car and just go. I can't imagine what would keep me from going. So I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, other than that, I got a little bit, I got re-inspired. Me and Alex went to a rock concert last weekend, which was very much not our jam. We've never been to a concert together. I can't remember the last time I've even been to a concert, but we went to a Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and Primus did a concert together, and it was
those
awesome.
Are all words I've heard before.
I was about to say, if you don't know who any of those people are, it's totally fine. But it was.
I made the Camelot reference earlier. You might remember me from earlier, the musical nerd.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
no,
A Perfect Circle was pretty mainstream when we were in high school, so I thought maybe you'd know him. But yeah,
that's why I
it
was
was great.
buying the Camelot album. What are you talking about? I was going to Sam Goody and seeing what musicals they had available that week.
Man, I miss Sam Goody. That's one of those stores that I like spent so much time in. Heartbreaking. But yeah, so I don't know, I came out of it creatively charged. I got some writing done this weekend, like Saturday when I was recovering from standing too long. So yeah, I'm just digging it. I'm just
You
feeling
guys are just doing it.
feeling
You're
it.
just doing
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
Nice.
doing life,
That's
getting
good.
words down. Yeah, I'm just so happy. And I guess it's like the month of May kicked off. It's my birthday month. Like went to a concert to start it. I'm doing Queers and Quills at the end of the month, so I get to see you and like other people. So I'm like, I'm
Uh-huh.
just riding this rainbow wave until June.
Yeah, love it. It's not
Yeah.
even
How about
Pride
you?
Month yet.
Yeah, right?
I'm exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
so tired. I just think, yeah, I'm still so excited for Queers and Quills, but it has been so much work doing that podcast. And then also, I have a full roster of recording to do like right up until the day I leave. I'm just a little tired. And this week, we also like did social things. John and I did some social things together, but like I went to see a friend in a play on Thursday night. I went to see John in a concert on Friday night. And then, oh yeah, over the weekend I volunteered at the theater because they had like their kids, they have like their studio where they teach kids to sing and dance, and they had their little, spring showcase. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'll come help at the bar. That's no problem. You know. So I just like I went out in public 4 days in a row, and I think that was it for me. I think
Yeah, that's a
that was
lot.
too much. And like
Yeah.
that's like going to a conference. Like being seen in public 4 days in a row. Like, what are you talking about? I can't
Yeah.
believe I did that. And now I'm just tired. Now I'm just tired.
That's fair. That's a lot of peopling.
Yeah. Yeah. So and I'm still I did over the weekend get done with all of my Queers and Quills like edits and stuff, which is good
Nice.
because like I like to go into the week caught up at least. So I'm not like, oh God, there's still those things to edit. But like then I did another one yesterday. I think I have one more later in the week. Like it's just like it's just there's and I have two people who signed up for interviews on the 15th, which is like not even a full week before the actual conference. And I was like, why did I let people sign up for things so late? I was like,
No
I think
shit.
I should be done with this at this point. So it's like I have that just like brewing in the back of my mind the whole time. It's like, oh, there's still more of those to get done and to do.
God.
And fortunately, the vast majority of them have been delightful. And like in the moment when I'm doing the podcast recording, I'm like, this is great. It's just all the stuff that comes with it. That's
Mhm.
like the editing and the promotion and all of it. That I'm like, I'm tired. I'm getting tired. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to wrapping up that portion of this year and going to Queers and Quills and having a good time and then coming back and not thinking about traveling for several months.
Yes. Just not like you're done. Don't have to mess with it. At least for a little bit.
I can just enjoy summer,
Mhm.
enjoy our yard,
Yeah.
do some home improvement stuff, like just chill. We're not, because last year we did so much traveling between April and August that like
Yeah, I remember that.
this year I'm like, I just want to chill. I just
Mhm.
want to chill. I want to have a nice summer. I'm not directing anything this summer like I was last year. So like, because yeah, last year it was like New York, Phoenix, Oregon, our nephew's wedding, and then I was
Yeah.
directing a show, and then I went into the Rainbow Readers Cruise, and then I came back and finished directing the show. And by the time the show was open, it was the middle of September, and I was like, oh, well, there was summer. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, done.
So I am looking forward to, and the weather's actually nice.
Good. It's warmed up.
Yeah, it was like
Excellent.
70 degrees when I left for lunch. I spent
Love
most of my
that.
lunch just like hanging out with the boys outside.
Yay. Yes, I'm all for like super chill, relaxing summer. That should be the theme because that sounds so nice.
Super chill, relaxing summer. I like it.
Yeah. Love
Branding
it.
it.
Yeah, I
TM,
think I'm gonna do the same. TM, yes.
TM. Trademarking it. Well, just a reminder for folks that this is the last week that our Patreon will be turned off. We're actually coming back on the 15th, I think, as the official date. So just know that billing cycle will turn back on. We are coming back with more Animorphs reactions once the billing turns back on, with more announcements somewhere down the line. And as we mentioned last week, our website is currently turned off. So if you need to get a hold of us, just find us on Instagram, send us a DM, tag us in something, or you can email us at hoofandfangpodcast@gmail.com. But Instagram, I think, is where we're doing all of our like updates and everything. So if you want to know what's going on with us or you need to send us a message, that's a really good place to go for now, while
For
we
now.
plan, while we scheme,
Yes.
while we scheme. So, but also see previous comments about how busy I am, and that's also impeding how much scheming is going on. But like scheming is
Yes. Scheming is doing the thing, but you are very busy. I'm busy more with just work, which is not fun. So yours is actually fun. Also, those interviews have had me pre-order some stuff, so you did boost at least some people's sales.
good.
Yeah. I listened to a
Yay!
couple. Was like, okay, D&D campaign, into it, pre-order.
Awesome. Well, and there's lots of great content to come yet. So
Good.
we've officially reached the point where like there's going to be 2 episodes a day for at least a full week. So it's happening.
Ooh, so much. That's so
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
It's a lot. But and again, I just hope that people like you are being introduced to folks that they didn't know as well, or they're getting to know people who they were already fans of on a more personal level, and that will make the
Right.
conference more fun.
Yeah.
Speaking
I'm
of
already like
conference,
I feel like I'm well armed at this point to like go in and be able to socialize really easily. So this is I'm
good,
digging the hell out of it.
good, good. I hope you're not the only one. So,
I'm sure
and
there's got to be
I
plenty.
know you're not, because like strangely, like I've seen metrics on like my social media and our social media, because Hoof and Fang is putting out some of these things as well. But, like, I don't think I've ever had a reel get over 1,000 views, and like several of the Queers and Quills ones have. So it's like
Yeah.
interesting. People are digging
Yeah.
this.
It pops up on my phone too. So I'm like, yeah, I have the Maz one and Hoof and Fang tied to it. So I posted something recently and was like, whoa, did one of my weird things pop off? And I was like, oh, that's not me. That's what Kurt's
No,
doing.
it's not us. It's the podcast. Yeah. So I tried to do a smooth transition earlier, but it failed. So conferences.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of schemes, which kind of ties into the theme. So yeah, speaking of schemes and conferences, the BookCon world has once again been struck by a horrible scam. The most recent offender was A Million Lives Books Con. Have you looked into this at all? I meant to send you some stuff.
Oh, I am fascinated. Yeah.
It is a hell of a train wreck. Like I fell down a rabbit hole on Threads a couple days ago, just absorbing everything. So it kind of got me thinking about, we've talked about cons before, about like attending cons and some good tips and stuff like that. But I figured maybe this time we could talk about when we're shopping around for conventions, what are some of the like red and green flags we look for in both either attending as a reader and then also in a professional capacity. So when it comes to considering a book convention as a reader, are you wary about attending a con's first year? Is that one of your like, maybe a yellow flag?
I gotta tell you, I'm trying to think of any. I guess I have gone as a reader to a couple of cons, but I was still in sort of a professional capacity.
Fair.
Like there was the one year I went to GRL as a normal attendee, but that's only because they canceled the pro narrator track and they were like,
Oh,
you can
yeah.
still come as a normal person, and then I did. Because like we were already all going down there, and it was a drive, so it was like we don't even have to fly. And then I went to the first YA Midwest book festival last summer, but that's because a lot of my friends were going to be there,
Right.
and it was still an opportunity to get in front of like some authors and some readers, but mostly it was to get in front of some authors and be like, "Hi, hello, I do this work also," even though I wasn't on the narrator panel.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 times I've gone as like an attendee, but both times really like I was there as a narrator. So I've always kind
That's
of thought
fair.
of conventions as like, how can I use this to further my career? I don't know that I've ever gone to a con just for fun.
Have you ever been to any like outside of book conventions, like any type of convention?
None that weren't for work, like work trade shows, sure, but never. No, I don't. Well, because you know how I hate people,
Yes.
and you know what
And
conventions
that's
have?
kind of their whole thing is that there's tons of
Yeah,
them.
there's so many people. So it just
Yeah.
doesn't sound fun to me. So I don't quite know how to answer the question. I was like, as a reader, what is a red flag? A red flag is that it's a con with people.
There you go.
I wouldn't
Okay.
want
Well, that's fair. That's an answer. Well, I would say so kind of similar. I've been to, I think the first couple GRLs I went to was just a reader. I wasn't going in any type of professional capacity. And I've also been to like copious amount of anime conventions, horror conventions, tattoo conventions, oddities conventions, just kind of everything. I would say at this point of con's first year for me, like if I wasn't going in a professional capacity, if I was just going for funsies, I am now a lot more wary about going to a first year because it seems like with these now, like you don't realize that they're a scam until it's already happening. It's, you're in it. And then I assume they're going to be gone. Like if they try to come back next year, it's not going to work unless they
Right.
rebrand and
Well,
stuff. But
well,
yeah,
so I mean, can we break down what it means to be a scam? Because I'm not sure this was a scam
well, maybe not a
so much as
scam,
it
but just
like
like,
this really is in the gray area of like did the organizer intentionally screw all these people over, or were they just woefully incompetent and incapable?
yeah, at this point though, would it be, I would almost argue that it's still a scam, even if they're just bad at it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's more of an intent. Like, did they intend to just steal the money and bail? Or like to your point, were they just really, really bad at what they've done? I don't know. With this one in particular, the Millions of Lives one, it's hard to really tell because it was so mismanaged. Some of the highlights were the panel, like there were no seats in the panels, like
Uh-huh.
everybody was sitting on the floor. Like there's a narrator panel, this one lady, I didn't catch her name, she was moderating it and she was sitting on the ground
Yeah,
with everyone.
Carmen Chantal.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, she was sitting on the ground yelling to like
Uh-huh.
answer people's
Yeah,
questions and stuff.
yeah. No amplification. No table. No
Mm-mm.
waters. No speakers. No chairs. Nothing. It was just an empty room. Which
Yeah,
is where again, like. But here's the thing about the scam versus incompetence. Like the organizer was physically there.
that's
If
right, I
I'm
forgot she was
scamming
there.
people, I'm not showing up.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like
okay, I guess it wasn't a scam then. She's just
she was
really bad.
there, and it was just really bad. It was like the least impressive version of a conference that can possibly exist. Like some other things that people like, there was nobody there to actually check anybody in. There were no lists. There were no badges. The
Oof.
excuse about the
The
badges
no
was that they
badges.
shattered in transit. Like every single thing had an excuse, and the the people who bought tickets were promised a swag bag that never materialized, even though some people donated things for the swag bag. And the excuse was that the venue accidentally threw them away.
I saw the receipts of somebody emailing and asking, and they're like, "No, we didn't receive." Like the hotel was like, "We didn't receive anything." Like that
Oh,
was never
I
a
haven't
thing.
seen that. I'm sure it exists. But, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you know that when this many things go wrong and none of them are your fault, like,
hmm
these are lies. These are things that are made
yeah,
up. Like, and apparently, like, she had reported to the attendees that there were going to be 500 people there, and there were like 40 one day and 80 another day.
yeah.
Like the room was not set up the way they were told it was going to be set up. So like when you got there and you were looking for your table position, you were in a totally different area than you expected to be because
Oof.
nothing was set up the way she said it was going to be. No tablecloths on the tables. And then the ball that people paid
God.
$250 to be a part of was just an empty room
Yeah, yeah. That's the
with
one that kicked it
books.
all off. That's how was introduced.
Right. Yeah, and like the decoration, they still had like the tables out from the panels or the help me out. What is it
The
called?
signing, I
The
guess.
signing. The signing. And they had like just like a book propped up on each table with like 4 or 5 rose petals on the table. Not real rose petals, like craft rose petals. And
Oh
like
my
that
God.
was all of the decorations for this fantasy
Oh my
ball.
God. Did you
There
see
was
that the
supposed to be
security
like
guard loaned them a
and
speaker
yeah, and like
system?
there wasn't even music until the security guard provided a Bluetooth speaker. And then but like a lot of the footage you see of like somebody standing there trying to connect to the Bluetooth speaker to make music, that's the organizer. Like that's
Oh my
her.
God.
So she's there trying to like add music through her phone to this Bluetooth speaker. And that's it. Like that was the whole ball. And I guess there was like a content creation room that like at a certain ticket price you were going to have access to that again was just a bare room. There was nothing in there. So
Wow.
wild. but again, it's like she
Yeah.
showed up and just everything was done poorly. It's like, was that, and by the way, she also looks 14 to me.
Right. She
Did you
looks
see the
real
video?
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, was she just like so in over her head and just didn't see a way out and coped with it in the worst possible way, which was to try to do it anyways and just see if like the magic of the moment would help the situation? Because like that ain't it, kid. And like, oh, and like
No.
the featured authors, I guess, were promised hotel rooms and then they never came through. So like then
No.
they ended up at like hotels that were like not attached to the venue.
I didn't hear about that. That's wild.
Wild. Yeah. It's wild. If you I'm gonna look it up so I get this right, because there is an author who did like a really deep dive into all of this.
Yeah, I definitely want to fall back down the rabbit hole because there's apparently sections of this I had no idea about. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know about the hotel rooms
So
and stuff.
author Percy J. Percijay has like a 4-part explainer. She was one of the featured authors there. She has like a 4-part explainer of everything that she witnessed or that she heard from people who witnessed it directly. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So anyway, so that's what happened up there. So again, but all of that lends to your point of being like, if it's a first time festival, should you trust it? It's like, I think you have to ask, what are they trying to achieve? Because this person is saying 500 attendees. If you need 500 people to show up to a conference to make it a success, to be able to afford all the things that you're planning to do for the event, I don't trust that. Not a first year event. One of the reasons I liked Queers and Quills so much is that they limited it to 200 people for their first year. That seemed wise to me. Keep it
Yeah.
small. Understand what you're able to provide if 200 people show up.
Hmm.
Because like I'm sure a ton, like doing anything at those convention centers is freaking expensive. They charge
Yeah.
so much money for every little thing. Every little table. You want to have a water station, more money. You want to be able to plug something in, more money. You want
Hmm.
tablecloths for your tables, a shit ton of money. And no, you can't bring any of your own stuff in. If it's something that we provide, you have to use us. Otherwise, you're not allowed to use anybody else.
Yeah. I remember I forgot why. I remember looking into the logistics of doing some type of convention thing. And I remember just the insurance for a small allotment of people was thousands of dollars just for the insurance, not even to book the venue, tables, nothing. I was like, that's insane. Like, how does anyone afford this shit? So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess having high hopes that it'll be really successful. And sure, if 500 people had showed up and all paid at least $50 to be there, that's quite a bit of money for you to work with, you
Yeah.
know? But
Well,
when
and I
you've only
think,
pre-sold like 100 or less tickets, like what do you do?
hmm,
You're probably not even
yeah,
covering your own expenses at that point.
imagine not. Yeah. Well, and I think that the ticket prices were up there because I want to say for most conventions, if you do like a day pass, that usually runs anywhere from 50 to $80. And then if you do like an all 3 days, it's 175 upwards to 300, depending on if you get VIP and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it can be pretty expensive, like a good chunk of change to go and then show up to that. You know what I mean?
And this one, the price breakdown that I saw was like it was $50 to attend just the signing one day. And then it was like 150 if you wanted to attend the signing both days. And then there were these other perks like the content creator room and like a cosplay meetup that some people don't even know if it even happened. But then there was like the $250 level, which was all of that plus this ball, which was
Mm,
which was billed as like black tie. So like people not only spent money on the ticket, they had to spend money on the outfit. And
yeah.
people had to get there because this happened in Baltimore. The author I
Hmm.
mentioned is from Texas.
Oh, God.
People
So, yeah,
travel.
just shipping your books, your banners, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, and
good
that was the
Lord.
thing that was brought up a lot is like all these new and it was also really pitched toward new authors.
Oh,
Like people who
damn.
yeah. So a lot of these, that was their first conference, they're new authors, like only a couple books or a couple years under their belt. You know, people who struggle sometimes to get into other conferences because they haven't built the name yet. They
Mm-hmm.
like it was marketed to them as an opportunity to get in front of readers.
Man,
And
that gets
they
me.
fell, yeah, you know, and
Yeah.
it does seem like they fell for it because there certainly was some, again, it seems more like incompetence to me, but I mean, this is really weaponized incompetence because, like, you have to really not know what the hell you're doing to think this was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, I know I'm going to run an event where full of people who don't usually get into cons because they don't have
Mm-hmm.
enough of a following. And I'm going to promise to have people show up. Somehow that's going to be on me. I'm going to do all the work to get people to show up. How? So
Yeah.
that would be
No
a
shit.
question I would ask if you're looking at a first time con. Like, what's your plan to get people to show up?
Yeah. It's one of the things I had like as an author narrator. Like, what are some of your like? How can you check the validity of what you're applying to? You know, like especially because I think we've talked about this before on the previous episode. For us to go into professional capacity, usually it's. I mean, I think the cheapest I've ever gone for a table has been like $150, and that was
Uh-huh.
for like a tiny like huge or a tiny like all-encompassing like book signing thing that's like in, I think it was at the city of Fort Worth did a book signing thing that was for anybody who was a local author, and I think it was $150 for a full table, and it was just everybody went, right? But for like these more really targeted blowout events, like $500 is pretty normal for a full author
Mhm.
table. And that's
Yeah.
half a grand. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And it's
and for new
literally all you're
authors,
getting is the table.
yeah, it's just the table and the ability to be there for a lot of these places. And like, I appreciate now that a lot of these newer cons are also folding in break times. Sometimes you get lunch now, which is kind of cool, or you get like some extra stuff, or like your PA's included, so you don't have to buy them like an extra ticket or whatever. You get like a free helper. But for a while, nope, that was all extra stuff you had to pay for. So it especially pisses me off when these kind of things are targeted for indie authors or newbie authors or something, because I've applied for every big book convention I know of, and I've never gotten an invite. I think the only time I've was pleasantly surprised was the one in Florida, Coastal Magic, because that one's decent, and then Queers and Quills, which I applied for and got in, and I was amazed. But yeah, typically like a Polycon and stuff, heck no, God no, they book out 2 years in advance. I'm not getting into that. So yeah, that's really upsetting that these poor new authors who their first ever convention they show up and get that. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
yeah,
again,
I
like,
guess
it makes you
go ahead.
wonder, this person who was running it, had she attended conferences before?
She had
Did
to
she
have, right?
bother to reach out to anybody else who's run a conference to be like, what are some things that I should look out for? What's important? Because I mean, they were also talking about like how at one point, like during the signing, she just came in and like yelled that it was lunchtime, and so everybody had to get out. But there was no
Oh my
security
god.
for the room.
Yeah, I wouldn't
These
leave my
authors,
table.
all these authors just stayed because they're like, well, I can't leave all my stuff here. There's nobody here to watch it.
Yeah, no,
And that's
absolutely
such a
not.
basic thing that you would think of, but even if you don't think of it, it would be something that like anyone who has done this before would be able to tell you these are some things you have to look out for.
Hmm.
You know, table security is a big one. You know, make sure you
Yeah,
and it seemed like she had no volunteers lined up. Like she was just doing
I
it
did
all.
see that note that there was no volunteers that anyone saw, paid or otherwise. There was no help. I think it was just her.
You cannot do this sort of thing by yourself. You absolutely
No,
cannot.
no, no. And like we've talked about previous, like other cons that we've been to, that where the organizers clearly are trying to do it all themselves, and they reject outside help, and it shows. So
Yeah. So if you're thinking of going to something run by Archer Events, think again.
don't do it.
Apparently there was another one scheduled for October.
Oh God,
So
really?
yeah,
Have they
think
canceled? Do you
again.
know?
I haven't seen that yet, but I mean, it's only been a couple days, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
I mean, they did. Several people online were saying that like all of the social media from this event was deleted. Like the accounts weren't gone, but like all the posts were.
Whoa. Because I remember I went on to, because of course you do, right? Like you see this shit happen. I immediately went to their social media to see what their comment sections were like. And there were still a couple things up. And I was surprised that there was only the one like apology video being like, sorry, the ball sucked, but that was kind of it. It's like, dude, you need to do a full press release if you're ever going to recover from this. But I guess scorched earth is another way to
She's
go.
not. She's not. There's
Yeah.
no recovering from this. No one will ever trust her with their money or their time ever again. She needs to find something else to do. And like she herself is about to be a debut author. Good luck to her.
Ooh, bad idea.
Yeah. Good
Well,
luck
like
to her.
that's one of those things where if it went really well, that would be a great little, feather in your cap. Because I know that Alyssa, oh, I forgot her name, the lady who runs Inkers Con, that one's great. But that's like more of an author centric convention. That's like craft and stuff like that. That one's great and elevated. And so she, of course, now is like top tier in her author game. But yeah, if it goes bad, oof, oof.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I guess like one way to because like, I'm very wary of discouraging people from trying something for the first time because like all of these cons have to have their first time. It's really about expectation setting. And if you are not getting answers that satisfy you from the organizers, maybe that's the trick. Is just to ask some questions. Even if they seem like mundane ones, see what kind of response you get and make sure they have answers and make sure they have a plan. And if they don't, respectfully decline. But also check their social media because another thing a lot of people were saying is like they didn't see any advertising for this on this Archer Events social media until a post that was offering tickets for 40% off.
Oh,
Like that was the
yikes.
first time they saw any advertising for this conference. And so it's like, well, yeah, if you don't advertise for it, if there isn't a really big promotion push and there's not time to get people excited, then yeah, don't go. Like Queers and Quills did it really smart. They announced it. They
Mm-hmm.
said tickets are going to go on sale the next day. They had gathered authors and stuff like that. And like their down payment was very reasonable. I feel like I remember
Yeah.
it wasn't like you're committing your firstborn child to us, and if you decide not to come to the conference, then you don't get that child back. It was like we'd like you to reserve your
Yeah.
spot. Money is due by this day, and then we'll announce you, and we're good to go. And then they sold out in like a
Mm-hmm.
day and a half.
Yeah, I would say a green flag. Now, my expectation moving forward into other conventions is there was like a deposit, which is normal. But then they also gave us plenty of time to pay stuff off, and we're open to letting you like stagger things and stuff like that. Because I remember I reserved half a table, but then decided to do a full table and needed some time to gather the funds. And I was not expecting them to be cool with it because it's businesses and stuff like that. But now I'm like, why not? Like you should be able to like let people have some wiggle room and just give them a firm date, and if they don't meet it, take them off the list, whatever. So yeah, that was now a new expectation going forward for conventions for me. I'm like, you've got to be able to work with your authors, know they're human, and be flexible. Like if they don't have the capacity to let me pay them $200 next month instead of right now, maybe they're strapped a little bit more than they want us to believe, that kind of stuff. Like it gave me way more confidence about the convention.
For sure.
So that's one of my big green
What
flags.
haven't we talked about? We've kind of jumped all over the.
We did. Let me see. We talked about how many tickets, communication, red, green flags, just to your point of just ask questions. And if they are professional, buttoned up, and have answers for you,
Yeah,
great. And if
really
they
good.
deflect or ghost you, don't go. Yeah, I also saw that this would be a red flag for me as they were cold DMing people like through Instagram. They would ping them and be like, "Hey, here's an event. And you should blah blah blah." And I was like, I don't know. For me, I would be like, this doesn't sit well if they're just IMing me on Instagram or Facebook telling me about your event. Like at least, and maybe this just because I live in a corporate world now, but I think an email would like be a little bit
Oh,
better.
sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I
You know what I mean?
guess if you can find an email. I just think like I know Joel for Rainbow Readers like approached a lot of people. And I don't know if like the first reach out was an
Through
email
DMs.
or if like if you don't have their email, maybe the DM is just like, "Hey, I'd love to tell you about this opportunity. Can I have your email and send you more information?" Like that's a very respectful
There
way
you
of
go.
doing it. But like, yeah, if it was just like well, in fact, I have had people reach out to me that way and I haven't responded to it. Like
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you
because
should
it's
come do this
just
event. It's on this day and it's this much money. And it's like, yeah, no. I was like,
it's just
I'm not going to
I don't
spend
know.
thousands of dollars based on a DM. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, DMs are not the way to communicate in a professional manner. Like it just is a huge red flag for me, especially if it's like a wall of text. I'm not reading it. I don't care. Like send an email or or get lost. I don't know. But yeah, that's one of the ones I had on there. I was like, how they approach people is a huge telling factor for me on how professional they are and how well they're able to communicate the events to who they want to attend is also going to be how they advertise and how they get to the readers. And if it's that bad to start with, I don't have high hopes.
Well, I guess like the message I would try to
But
send if
yeah,
I was
I
doing
think we
something
covered
like that
everything.
is like, I'm thinking of doing this. I'm going to try to do an event in Baltimore in this time period in 2025. Is that something you would be interested in? I'm trying to gauge the interest for this. Like, you have to do that work before you book a venue. Like, I'm worried. I'm a little worried about that because we've
Yeah.
talked about before I went to this Pack in the Readers conference that's happening in Green Bay. And like, I don't know that there's a
Mhm.
ton of interest for a book festival happening in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I think that has been borne out. And to her credit, the organizer has been extremely transparent. But like the ticket sales that she's reporting, not great. Like, now do I care? Because I really don't. Because like the table was cheap. Well, it was half a table because I was supposed to share it with you before you abandoned me, and now I'm sharing it with
I'm
some random.
sorry.
But I was like, so it's half a table. It's in my hometown. I don't have to pay for travel or lodging or even food if I don't
Mhm.
want to. I could just go home and eat at my house. Like, I'll still go because there's like no stakes in this whatsoever. But I am like, if I was traveling, if I was spending money on a plane ticket and a hotel, and I was getting the updates that I've been getting about that about that conference, I would be pulling out.
Mhm. Well,
I would
yeah, I
say
would too. If I was traveling, I'd be pulling out. So yeah, that's how we feel about that. I think this episode just turned into how bad A Million Lives BookCon was, which I mean, I'm all about spilling the tea. I just desperately wanted to talk about this with you. But yeah, if you're going to a convention, ask questions, check social media, make sure you're not getting squeezed out of too much money for somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
and
Is the
talk
lesson.
to people who know. Well, but I guess that wouldn't have helped in this one because I've also seen authors on TikTok saying like, I knew this person. I thought she was a friend. I trusted her.
No.
And then like now that this has happened, I'm just seeing that like this person I thought I knew is not the person I thought I knew. And so, but if you can get some good references, that's
That's
probably only
heartbreaking.
to their benefit.
Yeah, true. Like yeah, that sucks. I didn't know that. Well, I guess that would make sense. Like that's probably how she got the first couple people on board is reaching out to friends. I mean, that's what I would do if I was starting a convention. I'd reach out to the people who I knew, but I also wouldn't, I don't know. I would just implode like a dying star if I botched a convention this bad and my friends were there. You know what I mean? Like I could not. Oh,
Well, clearly none of these friends were that close because anybody who was close enough to see what was going on would have stopped it or would have helped.
yeah.
Now, these are just like parasocial
Yeah,
online
there you go.
So,
Right. Fair enough.
Oh.
So yeah, there you go.
That's it for this week. Yeah, like we said, find us on Instagram. That's kind of where we're going to post stuff for a little while we continue to plan and figure out our new dynamic. But in the meantime, we're just getting together to chat once a week and sharing it with our friends on the internet. So you can look forward to more weekly episodes every Friday. And if you do want to jump on our Patreon, we will be doing that second season of Animorphs, our live reactions to watching that very ridiculous show from, I guess it started in the 90s, but it really does feel like it's from like the early 90s, even though it was like almost 2000.
It really does.
It is wild.
It's so good.
So yeah, we'll be jumping back into that. We love hearing from you guys. If you do have suggestions or reactions to anything we're doing or plans we might make or things that you want to see us do, let us know. We're here. We're considering everything at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for this week. Let us say goodbye. We will be back next week. Farewell.
Yeah. We'll see you then.